Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to HOTFIX. I'm Stylosa, and this is Unit Lost, and we are the best. Now, there is a little bit of a difference with today's HOTFIX compared to, well, there's a lot of differences actually, compared to the previous HOTFIX. Now, Mr. Kirioth is not available today, so he has been replaced by his rage face. However, I am here, but I've been replaced by my crazy face because I don't look very good. In fact, I look half dead. I look like a corpse man that is alive, walking around. I don't really know what the hell. I just look terrible. So if you watch the quick update video I put out, you will know why I look terrible. And it's a wonder that I can actually function in any kind of capacity at the moment. But there you go. Anyway, on to HOTFIX. So I want to see a load of comments, guys, in the comment bit below the video, because I don't have anybody to frigging discuss this with. So I've got to absolutely 100% discuss this with you guys in the comments. But what I want to talk about today is the Steam review system. So Steam have introduced a system where users can offer up reviews of games they've played, and their review will go next to the game. Okay, pretty interesting idea. But you know, what are the features? Well, allow me to go over the features. And by the way, if you want to check this out yourself, you can go to store.steampowered.com/reviews, and that will take you to the FAQ page. But I'm going to go over the features and the more interesting FAQs. And then we'll go into a little bit of a discussion about the whole review thing, because I think it's got a lot of positives. It's also got a lot of negatives. And I think it can be quite easily abused, but we'll get on to that. Okay, so for the features, the first one is read helpful reviews. See the most helpful review written by users that have played the most, that have played the game or used the software you are considering purchasing. I don't know where I got most from. I'm terrible at reading text off a screen. Oh dear. So let me go over that again, actually. See the most helpful reviews written by users that have played the game or used the software you are considering purchasing. Just look for reviews on any store page. Rate other reviews. Let other users know which reviews you found to be the most helpful by rating them up. You can also downvote unhelpful reviews or report posts as spam. So I guess this is kind of like a Reddit system, you know, an upvote, downvote type of thing. Discover helpful authors. You may find a particular user that is great at writing reviews or shares your taste in gaming. Easily browse for all reviews by that user and see what other titles they have enjoyed and recommended. Write your own reviews. Let the community know how you feel about the games you play and the software you use. To get started, just visit the Steam store page for any game you've played or software you've used on Steam. Find and write reviews in your language of choice. When writing a review, users can indicate which language the review is being written in. Steam will then automatically prioritize the display of helpful reviews that are marked with the language of the user that is browsing. Okay, so that pretty much covers the features. Well, it completely covers the features at the moment. There's also Q&As, as I said before, and I'm going to go over some of the more interesting Q&As. So, the first one we've got is, the question is, do these written reviews create an overall score or rating for a product? And the answer is, not yet, but we are looking to add that during the beta. Many products on Steam change significantly over time as the game or software is updated and new content is added. In order to form a score that accurately reflects the current state of the product, we first need to gather and evaluate the data from reviews. Okay, so that's pretty much saying we're not going to have a review score as such. We're just going to have, you know, the most popular review, user popular review, you know, that's got the most upvotes, so to speak, is most likely going to be at the top. And it also looks like they haven't really worked out a way of doing that. And if I'm totally honest, like of doing that in the sense of they don't really know how they can quantify a review, because let's say you look at a game that's just come out, you know, any game it could be, and you've played the game for a certain number of hours, you've wrote a review on the game, and the game's kind of not broken, but it's missing a lot of content. A couple of months down the line, they release a massive patch that completely rejuvenates the game, you know, adds things that were missing, and the game, you know, is totally fine now. That review is no longer relevant, so then they need to look at newer reviews, and so they're going to replace the older review with the newer review, and it gets a bit iffy. You know, at that point, it's pretty difficult. In fact, I think that's the hardest thing to do at the moment. I can't see any kind of solution for that. If you guys can, then please leave a comment below. But the thing of keeping reviews up to date with updated games, or games that will eventually update, is going to be pretty difficult. Now, the other thing I've got is, the other Q&A that is interesting is, do I need to have purchased a game in order to write a review of it? And the answer is, purchase is not required. You may write a review for any product you have launched via Steam, whether you registered a Steam key obtained elsewhere, participated in Steam free weekend, or played a free game, or played a game via family sharing, you will be able to write a review for that product. Your playtime in that game or time in that software title will appear next to your review. And we're going to get onto that a bit later, so I'm just going to skip over that for now. But when they say purchase is not required, what they mean is you have to... like at face value, that can appear like I can just go into the store and write a review on anything, but it doesn't. I mean, as I read the explanation, it means that you have to have played the game on your Steam account. That means you could have played the game, on its free weekend, or used it via Steam family sharing or whatever. So long as you've played the game and Steam knows you've loaded the application up, you can write a review on that game. The other one which I found quite interesting was this. So, question, I am a developer. Can you delete reviews of my product? Can I delete reviews of my product? And the answer is not directly. If you find an abusive or offensive review written about your product, you can flag it as spam or abuse. The review will continue to be listed on your store page, but in a collapsed form and marked as spam until a moderator can either delete the review or remove the spam flag. Now, so what this means is it's kind of like the way... or this is how I hope this would be used, but the way I moderate comments on the YouTube channel. So I will delete racist stuff, I will delete stuff which is just violent, abusive, disgusting stuff. But if somebody says, Stylosa, I think your channel's crap, this channel is better, I won't delete that. That's that person's opinion. You can't go around censoring opinions. Now, what that says there is any developer can mark any review as spam and it will collapse the review. So it will make it less visible until it's reviewed by somebody who, I guess, reviews these things and will decide to either delete it or leave it as it is. That is a form of control there, that if I've got a game and I want to censor reviews, I want to get rid of negative opinions, I could potentially, collapse a lot of reviews there and maybe try and force other reviews to the top even. So I don't know about that, but we've all seen the things that have happened recently with stuff like Gary's Day One incident and stuff like that, where companies have tried to go out and actively censor reviews that they don't like and content they don't like on the game, and the backlash has been absolutely insane. So, I'm in no doubt in my mind it will happen again, but it's just going to be a matter of when and who decides to do it. Most likely it'll be an indie developer, I think. I don't know. I mean, the reason I say that is because indie developers are small teams, and if they've worked for like a few years on a game and the game comes out and then somebody like Unit Lost picks it up and goes, wow, this is a shit game. We've basically looked at the game for a couple of hours and decided it's not very good. We're telling our fans it's not very good. They might not like that. They would be quite inclined to pull it down, just like Gary's incident did with Total Biscuit. Pulled his video down because it was obviously impacting on their sales negatively. So I don't know about that. That is a bit iffy. Now, the final one, which, again, we've kind of been over, but the final Q&A, which is kind of interesting, is this. Question. My game or software has changed a lot since it launched. Will reviews reflect that? And the answer is the reviews that are shown most prominently on your store page are selected from recently written reviews, which should reflect the current state of your game or software. So again, if it's showing the recent reviews that have been written, a recent review might not be the best review, but the recent review will take into account potentially the latest updates to the game. So you can understand why they would do that to a certain extent anyway. So I think looking at this now, the biggest thing for me is the fact it will show a user's playtime. So if you go and write a review on a game and you appear on the game's store page, it will have your hours played. Now, I think this is done to kind of give a bit of credibility to any kind of review that you intend to do. So I've got a couple of examples of this situation and how this can be... it can be pretty good, but it can also be very bad. Let's talk about this. So this is quite dodgy. So, firstly, it's very, very, very easy to fake your playtime. All you need to do is just open the game and minimize the game and go to work and then come back. Hey, presto, I've just played a certain game for 9 hours. Yeah, so you can see how that can be easily abused. Now, I guess on the flip side to this, a potentially well-written review and reviews which could be, I guess, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if somebody is a potentially, if somebody goes away and potentially writes a well-written review, but only has, let's say, 2 or 3 hours in the game, they could be discredited for that. Oh, you haven't played the game enough. You've only played it for 2 or 3 hours. What I'd say to that is, we look at a lot of games at Unit Lost. We don't have the time to play games for hours and hours and hours on end. More often than not, you can get to grips with the game in the first few hours. You'll know if a game is, usually within the first hour, if this game is worth playing. Okay, there are exceptions to that. There are games that are slow burners, and potentially those could suffer. But, more often than not, a really negative review is going to be formed in the reviewer's mind as soon as they, begin playing the game for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes. If the game is really bad, the controls are bad, yada, 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 they're going to know that straight away. So, I don't know. But I do see that as a way people are going to be discredited. It's going to be a case of, well, you've only played the game for an hour. How the hell could you review the game? This is crap, blah, blah, blah. But then think of this, because this is even more mental. What if people start claiming games like Dota 2, Fallout 3, Skyrim, any game which has got a considerable amount of well, content's not the right word, I guess, but like a game that you could play for hundreds of hours, okay? So take anyone, let's just take Skyrim as the example, okay? You've played it for, 400 hours, right, let's say, and then you come to write a review. And now on your review, you say, well, I quite like Skyrim, it was pretty good, it was this, it was that. But then it started to get a bit boring, a bit repetitive, and, I don't know about it now. I'm going to go off and play something else. Now, is that a fair review? Okay, if this person's played Skyrim for 400 hours, I would argue they fucking love Skyrim, right? Yet in their eyes, it's become boring now, so they've wrote a review. I think people have notoriously high expectations a lot of the time, and I can see a lot of stuff like that coming through. And I can really see this being a situation where somebody turns up and is like, Dark Souls, I've got hundreds of hours of gameplay in Dark Souls, but I just, the game was okay, but now it's become repetitive. I mean, what exactly were these people looking for? But somebody could read that comment and think, oh, this guy has got hundreds of hours, he knows what he's talking about, so this game's probably not very good. It's interesting when you think about it like that. And also, if you look at it this way as well, this is going back to faking playtime. So if you fake your playtime to some insanely high figure for some game, like, by just leaving it running in the background, you could then intentionally, my brain's playing tricks on me, intentionally write a negative review just because you want to hate on the game. So I could load up, let's say I load up Dota 2, I leave it running, I've got 80 hours of gameplay in Dota 2, so in fact I think I've got about 80 hours of gameplay in it anyway, but I'm going to now say the game is totally shit, to give myself a little bit more credibility. I've faked my playtime, I hate the game, so yes, blah blah blah, the game is terrible, take my word as gospel kind of attitude. And I think that'll happen, and I guess you could even say, maybe there could be certain malicious companies out there who might do this to try and write negative reviews on the competition. This happens all the time. Places like on Amazon, for example. You've got product reviews. It's quite common knowledge. Most of these reviews are just spam. I think Samsung recently got taken to court in I think it was Indonesia or somewhere like that, for paying students to write fake reviews of their products. This goes on all the time. So maybe Steam is opening itself for abuse in that way. Now, I'm trying to think of ways to get around this problem, because I think this is the biggest problem with the Steam review system, is this whole, we can, show your hours played in a game, and that's somehow gives you credibility if you played the game more, you know more about the game, which I don't agree with, because I think you can play a game. There is no set amount of time you need to play a game to fully understand a game. Let's say Dota 2. I know what Dota 2 is. I know how Dota 2, I know what the game is, yeah? I know it's a MOBA. I know it's two teams against each other. I know it's about last hitting minions. I know it's about playing together as a team. I know it's about trying to kill the enemy base, and all this stuff. I know what it's about, right? I've not played the game for thousands of hours, so I don't know every minor detail. But I know enough to say to people, this is a fucking well-made MOBA game, and if you want something which is more difficult than League of Legends, get Dota 2. Okay? That would be in my opinion. And that would not change if I played the game for 800 hours, or 80 hours, or 8 hours, or 2 or 3 hours, okay? It would kind of be the same. So I think there needs to be some sort of like verification in terms of like effective playtime, just to kind of add that credibility it looks like Valve are looking for. So you can't just go out and say, oh yeah, we'll do it off time played, because we know that can be easily faked. What about if they look at some sort of way of using achievements? So again, achievements could kind of be faked, right? So let's say there was just an achievement for playing a game for a certain amount of time. Well, that could be easily, faked, I guess, by just using the same method for faking gameplay. But let's look at it this way. Imagine if they had a system where it listed your achievements of a game underneath your hours played. So me as a user could say, oh, here's a review of Kirioth. Oh, he's played the game for 80 hours. Oh, he's got an achievement for killing this boss, for doing this, for doing that, for doing this, for completing this, for doing that. I can see that he's played through the game. Like, he's actively played through the game, so he probably knows what he's talking about, and I could read into more what he's saying. Take it more, like it would increase in value what that person has to say. But I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. I know this is kind of a short hotfix, but like I said, I am not in the best of states. But I just wanted to get this out there anyway. My throat's starting to give way now. It's quite bad. But I want to know what you think about the whole Steam review situation. And do you think it's a good thing? I think it's a good thing. I think giving users the ability to produce any type of content is a good thing. Everybody loves user-generated content, right? But I think it's a system that could easily be abused. And thinking about abuse, was there not the whole Dietide fiasco? I'm trying to go off my memory here, but I think there was, where Valve didn't have the Halloween event for this year, or for Dota 2 in this year, and the entire community went absolutely batshit crazy, and they ended up just like slamming the game. Like, I think on Metacritic, its rating collapsed into the dirt because they didn't want that. So that could potentially happen here. Let's say, let's use the Total Biscuit as a review of Gary Day 1 incident as an example. So his video gets taken down. Oh dear. All of his fans will then go to Steam and downvote all the reviews, or upvote a negative review of the game. So I think it can be easily abused, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this eventually pans out. But what I really want to know, guys, is what you think about this. As I say, because this has been more of me just talking to you guys, and then I'm having to wait for your responses, it's going to be very interesting for me to read the comments, and I will be actively taking part in them. I think Kirioth probably will as well when he turns back up. Just a bit of a shame we couldn't have him here today, and a bit of a shame that I'm in such a bad state, but there you go. So hopefully this has been enjoyable, guys. I've been Stylosa, this is Unit Lost. If you like Hotfix, then like the video, leave a comment below on the show itself, and yeah, I'll catch you next time, people. Toodaloo.